As footage continues releasing, and astute internet sleuths continue analyzing anomalies and inconsistencies, it's becoming increasingly clear that the so-called Final Experiment's 24-hour Antarctic sun was just another faked event recorded on a film set. Unbeknownst to most, for the past few years, portable, panoramic, 360-degree LED studio setups now exist and are being used for Hollywood productions like The Mandalorian and many others. Amazon Volume, or Amazon Studio 15, for example, are state-of-the-art studios which take the standard of green or blue screen technology and completely blow it out of the water. With new 360-degree panoramic LED screen studios, the entire background and ceiling or sky are digitally created in Unreal Engine, then projected live in up to 16K resolution so the actors on set can see, react, and interact with everything in real time. Amazon's sets comprise 3,000 seamlessly connected LED panels 80 feet in diameter and nearly 3 stories tall, enclosing 130,700 cubic feet of interactive space. Keeping all this in mind, let's review some footage from the Final Experiment. To begin with, watch the supposed sun circling around during their 24-hour time-lapse video, and pay close attention to its shape. Notice how the sun changes from circular to being smushed down horizontally, back to perfectly circular, then smushed across vertically, and then back again. This is not how the sun usually looks or behaves in person, or in genuine footage of the phenomenon from the Arctic. Now, pay attention to the changes in length and direction of McToon's shadow as he paces around the base camp. In the space of walking only a matter of feet, his shadow somehow completely changes direction and triples in length. Watch as his shadow stretches, contracts, and sharply changes angles within the space of just a few paces. This is not at all normal behavior of shadows being cast by sunlight, or of a man walking only a few steps. The following is a simple demonstration of how light and shadows work depending on the distance of the light source. In the first example, the light source is held close to the action figure as he moves along the table, and we see quite pronounced changes in the length and direction of his shadow. In the second example, the light source is held farther away from the action figure as he moves along the table, and we see much less change in the shadow length and direction. In reality, the sun is much farther away in scale than this demonstration allows for as well, so even the amount of change seen here is being generous. A man walking such a short distance outside should never have a shadow that changes direction 90 degrees and triples in length. Now let's watch as McToon and Austin Whitsitt respond to commenters asking them to show their breath in the Antarctic. As they blow hot air out their mouths in freezing temperatures, there should be a cloudy mist that forms in front of their faces as the water vapor in their breath condenses. Instead, however, every time they blow, not a trace of fog appears. In Whitsitt's livestream, he claimed this was because the air was allegedly too dry there. Someone then asks him to pick up some snow, which he initially refuses to do because his hands would be too cold. So he turns his camera off, walks into the shed to grab some gloves, then comes back in front of the camera and exhales 1.5 breaths, which now mysteriously do show vapor appearing in front of his face, only to abruptly stop again. He says to the camera, "There's a little breath. What's up now?" As if somehow proving the skeptics wrong, and claiming that he took a sip of water in the shed, which was supposed to account for it. Another camera, recording from a different angle, however, caught Whitsitt while exiting the shed, doing what appears to be hitting a vape pen just before turning his camera back on. For comparative purposes, Here is what someone's breath looks like during winter in Maine, USA. Every time you exhale, there is a visibly noticeable, cloudy fog that condenses from the difference in temperature between the hot air in your lungs and the cold air outside. So after exhaling his vape hit into the camera, rather than picking up some of the snow that was all around him, for some reason, Austin walks several feet away and picks up a bit of snow from over there, then walks it back to the camera and lets it fall to the ground. If snow is everywhere all around him, why did he have to walk way over there to get some? Anytime close-up footage of their feet was shown, their footprints always failed to make any impression in the snow. Here he moves his left foot, and there is no impression, footprint, or displaced snow. Another thing apparent while watching the footage was the complete lack of wind or any precipitation whatsoever. Throughout the live stream footage, I don't recall a single instance of any wind or even a light breeze strong enough to affect their hair or microphones. Even on a calm, sunny day, if they were really outside and not in a studio, we should see or hear the effect of wind on their bodies or microphones, but it was mysteriously absent the entire time. Jaron, Whitsitt, and others involved also made comments several times about how the mountains in the distance seemed so close that you could touch them, but that they were actually several miles away. The mountains do seem strangely closer than they should appear, and if you pay attention to where the background and foreground meet in footage from the final experiment, particularly the 24-hour sun time-lapse, it seems we are seeing where the digital backdrop ends and the studio floor begins. There is a separation line indicative of a film set apparent in much of the footage and made clear through the use of video editing technology. By adjusting the contrast, it becomes clear where studio reality meets digital fakery. In the 24-hour time-lapse sun footage, the mountains and sky are both chroma keyed out, showing they are both part of the studio backdrop. Compare this to other footage taken at Union Glacier. When chroma key is applied, only the sky disappears, leaving the real mountains untouched. This makes the case that the final experiment is potentially a mixture of doctored studio footage to fake the 24-hour sun and other authentic footage actually taken from Union Glacier, Antarctica. The founder of this final experiment, Pastor Will Duffy, has also had a recent clip surface from a sermon of his that gives some real insight into the mind of the man behind this production.
Okay. We finally get to my conclusion on the matter of lying and deception, and that is this. After carefully looking at both sides of the debate, and after taking a very deep dive into everything I could possibly find in Scripture regarding lying and deception, I have come to the conclusion that neither lying nor deception are inherently immoral.